What's going on YouTube? This is my first attempt at recording, editing, all this good stuff, so cut me a break if you will. Anyway, I recently purchased this 2004 Yamaha Raptor 660R. I had one when I was a kid. My parents had one for me, and I loved it. I missed the torque, the speed. I mean, they're incredible. Needless to say, I'm glad I have one again now. Basically, my goal here is to build or rebuild, I guess you could say. Post videos as I go through each step along the way to maybe help others, but also to get some feedback from you guys. Let me know what I'm doing wrong, what I'm doing right, if you like it. If not, I'm not a mechanic. I've never claimed to be a mechanic, so just hear me out there. The quad has basically mostly been stock to begin with, besides the exhaust, which is junk anyway. I plan to replace that eventually. Once I started digging into it, I did open up the air intake box and did find a bird's nest or an animal nest of some sort. There's just minor things here and there. The carb and or the fuel petcock was leaking. That was been a real problem until I replaced the carb here. So the first things I did was I did an oil changed it out to the AMSOIL ATV oil, and I also put a K&N oil filter on it. After that, I changed the bird's nest, put a K&N air filter on it, cleaned the box out nice and neat. I tried stopping the fuel leak from the carburetor, but was unsuccessful getting that, which is what this video is going to be. Just minor things, that go a long way. I did take it out a couple times before I did anything to it. It drives somewhat decent. My grandpa's got some acreage over west of me. I took it out there a couple times with my son. My uncle also took me down to Rush Off-Road in Rush, Kentucky. As you can see here, it was an awesome time. I'd recommend it to anybody. The quad ran great for 7+ hours and still ran after, so I ran my hats off to after that. I ran the absolute dog crap out of it. So after Rush, it really started to leak fuel from the carb, so that's when I decided to I bought one off of eBay, and I'm going to replace it along with the jet kit that I received from the seller. He gave me the Dynojet Jet Kit with the four-wheeler when I bought it, which was a plus. So in this first video, I'll be replacing the carburetor with the new jet kit as well. I'm fixing the reverse switch that I broke at Rush, Kentucky, Rush Off-Road. And then I also bought a new steel billet, which is the key housing to replace the plastic. I'm going to put a steel one on instead. So the first thing we need to do is put the new Dynojet Jet Kit in the carburetor I got off of eBay, which was about 55 bucks, not bad at all. So following the Dynojet instructions, the first step is to take out these two flaps on your air intake snorkel. So we're going to get that done. It shows you an illustration of before and after on the instructions. It also says this step must be performed in order for the jet kit to function properly, so make sure you do that. The next step is to remove the vacuum slides from the carbs. So take off the two top black caps, remove the stock needles and spacers, noting the order of assembly, which way they come out. Keep that in mind. Once you get that done, you're going to move on to step number 3, installing the Dynojet needles and the Dynojet slide springs. So the first step is to install the Dynojet needles on groove number 4 from the top using all stock spacers, and then install the Dynojet slide springs in place of the stock slide springs. It also gives you a note that they give you an extra spring for your carburetor in case you lose one that you do not have to use, just in case. After that, it says after installing the slides in the carbs, be sure to check the slide movement manually before airbox installation. So here you can see, it's kind of hard to see, but once you get it in there, kind of make sure it's going to go up and down still as you're putting it together, taking it apart, etc. You just want to check the functionality of it. Basically, my order was, I did the low side to the high side, basically from the throttle, where the throttle intake is. That's the low side to the high side is the way that I did everything. When I took the things apart, I kept them to which side I took them off of. So if I took it off, the high side, I kept it on the right side. If I took it off the low side, I kept it to my left side. It's just a nice way to stay organized and keep everything in order. Once you have taken out the stock needles and springs from the carburetor and installed the new Dynojet needle and spring, you can go ahead and put your caps back on, and it's time to flip it over, and we're going to start taking the bowls off of the bottom of the carburetor so we can change out the main jets. You're only changing the main jets. It's the one with the kind of in the middle with the bigger one with the cup around it. The other ones you're not going to mess with. Basically, it gives you different scenarios if you're running a stock exhaust, full aftermarket exhaust, etc., and what kind of altitude you're going to be running in most of the time. So you have to decide which jets you're going to use from the kit to install into your carburetor for your scenario. I plan on putting on a full aftermarket exhaust here in the long run, so that's the jets that I'm going to go with. In my case, it's the DJ146 in the left carb and the DJ148 in the right carb, below 3,000 feet, because that's where I'm at. That's going to work best for me. When you're changing out the jets, I believe I used a little 8mm wrench to take the cup off, and then I used a little fold-up pocket tool. I couldn't find a screwdriver to fit down in there, like you see here, to get the jet out of the cup itself. Now make sure you put the cup back on before you put the jet back in. You have to use the old cup around the new jet, so just make sure of that. So now the last step is going to be number 5, locate the fuel mixture screws. Carefully turn the mixture screws clockwise until seated, then back out both of them 3 turns. Once that is done, that is the final step. You are ready to put the new carburetor in with the new jet kit in. And before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and get it cleaned up quite a bit. So I'm going to be using some brake cleaner and a nice rag to get this baby cleaned up a little bit. Here it is once I got everything hooked up. Without the gas tank in the way, it gives you kind of a better look, but it does look nice and clean in there. Gives it a fresh look. Here it is for the first time actually starting with the new carburetor on, but being a rookie, I didn't have the mic on, so you didn't get to hear it. But it did start after about 10 cranks, and it sounded pretty good. It was promising for me, being not a mechanic, being able to hear it run. Here is another video from later in the video with audio of a cold start though, just to give you an idea of what it does sound like. So now that I know it runs, the next step, I'm going to actually take off the rubber covers for the gas tank and the carburetor. I'm going to take them off, clean them with a rag, some brake parts cleaner, and I'm going to spray paint them matte black to give them a fresh look before I put them back on. They've just got years of dirt and grime on there, so here it is. Once I got them all cleaned off, I'm going to go ahead and throw the first coat of matte black paint on there. Once we get the first coat done, we'll go ahead and let them dry for 20-25 minutes, and we'll go ahead and throw the second coat on. After you put the second coat on, let them dry for about 20-25 minutes again, and you should be good to go. I didn't give you the best angle to look at them here, but as you can see, just enough here. They do look better than before with all the dirt and grime on them, so I'm glad I did do this part. Once those are back in place, I'm going to go ahead and put the gas tank back on. After the gas tank is back on, we're going to move on to the plastics, the front plastics and the radiator cover. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I did get the steel billet and the reverse switch fixed from when I broke it in Kentucky. I'm not going to have time to add them onto this video, being that they've taken so long with the carb and the jets and all that. So I'm going to go ahead and make another video after this, and make sure you check that one out too when it comes out. Here you can see it all put back together with the new carburetor, new fuel filter, everything's put back in, looks nice and clean under there, and it runs a lot better. That's the biggest part. That's why we did this whole thing. I'm glad I did all this. I'm going to also put it on the next video. The 2 black arms you see that I did underneath of there, I copied those off another guy on YouTube somewhat. He had somewhat done similar to his, but I'll put those in the next video. Here's the cold start from earlier in the video. As you can see, I don't have any headlights. I did break those off in Kentucky as well, but I'll be replacing those in the future, so you can follow along for that video as well. You may or may not be able to hear it throughout these next couple videos, but it still definitely has some spitter spatter in the low side of the throttle. My plan is for once I get everything done, I mean majority of the work done to the 4-wheeler, I'm going to take it to a mechanic and hopefully get put on a dyno and have it tuned in, one final good tune before I start taking it out. That's my plan. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you all enjoyed this video and hope to see you on the next one. Like and subscribe if you like the content. Leave some comments. Let me know what you think. Positive, negative. I'm humble. Stay safe out there. I'm signing out.